Hello, and welcome back to Sharing a Chapter a Day. This is Do, Ra, me, and today I will be reading Chapter 152 of Engagement in Peril, written by Dara Ado Sok. This is the last and final chapter of his autobiography. Chapter 152 is titled A Christian Bastard and Dara'S Realization. The person who said the ever popular phrase, "the apple doesn't fall very far from the tree," was absolutely correct in uttering that statement. Shinchin had found that to be very true in his personal life, because he was involved with a dishonest female who took after her conniving, evil, black-hearted mother. Shinchin's relationship was complicated with lies and deceptions, where a sinful mother and an ignorant daughter took advantage of his giving heart and always good nature. During their relations, Shinchin loved the succubus dearly, only to find that he was being played and used after an 18-month-long commitment to that whore of a succubus. Delilah was seeing one other or more while they were intimately and passionately involved. Personally, I feel that Shinchin had been the victim of an ugly, black-hearted person and her conniving mother. Shinchin had given up much for this ugly, unruly person, financially and emotionally, shunning his extended family, good friends, and their wholesome family, even giving up on promotions and putting aside higher education to make time for what he thought was true love. Although although their relationship had taken the intimate involved couple on several trips locally and internationally, and got the two to participate in various events and outings together, where they have crossed the Atlantic and the Pacific. And during that entire time together, there were signs of her deceits and lies. And yet, Shinchin was so gullible that he ignored what was happening in his present and in front of him. He allowed her to use him for as much as she could, only to find in the long run that she and he were never meant to be together. Shinchin was ignorantly in love, and like they say, love is blind. And blind like an asshole, Shinchin was during that entire year and a half. He was so much into this ugly, black-hearted female and gave her his all. And what he got in return wasn't nearly reciprocal. She had given him much heartaches, which was complicated with various mental, physical diseases and infections. Shinchin's past lover, Delilah, is a walking infestation of lies and sexually transmitted diseases, who had soiled Shinchin's once healthy, chiseled body, where he is now riddled with boils and abscess physically and emotionally. And worst of all, as previously mentioned, Shinshin is no longer among us, the living. Readers have been given a cautionary tale and made aware of this inbred succubus and her evil, evil, evil mother, Delilah and Lilith, and how Shinshin's life was turned upside down because of their lies and deceits. And although Delilah has a somewhat exterior beauty, we come to find that she's the owner of a devilish, ugly, black heart. This person's personality portrayed that of a succubus, feeding Shinchin's ego with lies and deceptions, only to suck him dry of his always giving heart. Delilah used her cosmetic fabricated attractiveness to sink her vicious fang into Shinshin's jugular and ignorant heart. Delilah's mental and conniving interior is that of her mother's wickedness, descending upon and having sexual intercourse with sleeping Shinshin, who was captured in a comatose state during their entire relationships together. Now, my relations, personal actions, and transgression, and the few other guys involved, and who are in participation with this succubus Delilah, may have also attributed to Shinshin's long, tragic, sad demise. For this I can be blamed for the regicide of one of my very own soul. For this I dare not forgive myself, nor shall I ever ask for forgiveness or redemption for my harsh action upon someone I've loved dearly. It's true that the good, they die young, and bastard like me live on and enjoy the pains of those good and ignorant. Then again, ignorance is bliss. With a slight smirk and thinking to myself, what an idiot Shinshin must have been, not realizing it then, that it was I and that horrible succubus Delilah who took his life and used him for as much as we could. Only in turn, Shinshin ended up giving his very life for the security and safety of his lover and friend. What Shinshin didn't know was that I and a few other bastards had intimately and sinfully been involved with that whore Delilah, behind his back as well. And I, worst of them all, have been right there with Delilah and Shinshin on their many trips and outings all and about the world. I have had my hand stuck in Delilah's nasty ass, all up in her infectious cookie jar, and Shinshin did not think the wiser. I had always been close by to I had always been close by them to get my piece of the action from that sinful, useless bitch, Delilah. Whenever Shinshin wasn't around, there I was, all up in her ass. The stories I would tell about Delilah and her many encounter with me behind Shinshin's back, this too will go down in the history of my contagious, sinful acts in life so far. I just couldn't believe that Shinshin had forgiven me for my sinful discretion against him. I fucked I fucked around and soiled his horrible of a whore girlfriend, and he still forgave me for that. Even my late even with my late honest revelation to him, he still found it in his heart to forgive a bastard like myself, a bastard who has always been torn. I guess Shinshin had figured, after all the shit he and I have been through since our time together with the United States Navy, from basic training in Great Lakes, Illinois, and how we lost touch for a good long while, and how we found each other once again back in Camp Delmar, Camp Pendleton in Oceanside, California, and how we found each other afterward since our tour of duty with the armed services. Shinshin and I had gone through a lot of shit together, feeling what each other had felt and sharing what we had then. We had become the best of friends, more like brothers. We even ended up sharing the same whore. Shit, we even ended up sharing the same whore. I know I have committed the worst kind of sin, having committed adultery against my beloved Shinshin. And he still had it in his giving heart to forgive a bastard like me, a bastard torn like me. I've realized that I've been the worst of anyone's friend. I realize that I cannot ever change myself to be like that of Shinshin. He was God-fearing and a deep, warm-hearted, giving human being. I can't even come close to that, even if I really try. I've committed so much lustful sin upon and against my beloved Shinshin, and yet I am still around to breathe in the fresh air that Shinshin had sacrificed to provide and give. I know I have committed so many wrongs during this lifespan, and anything I would do and try to do later in life to fix or resolve my sins, I won't even come close to getting forgiveness. And I know that I should never be forgiven for all my indiscretion in life so far, especially for my regicide against Shinshin Nagami. And yet, with my realization of my many past wrongdoings and betrayal against Shinshin, I still lust for the raw flesh of the opposite sex, and the pleasure of releasing my demonic urges and minions upon those that I am physically attracted to. Will I ever overcome these sadistic premonition, or will I ever, or will I simply lose myself in these engaging vices? I just simply have to live my life as it comes. I will take it day by day and hope for the best. I will smile for Shinshin's sake, and I will laugh in his remembrance, and I will make love for a better tomorrow. This is what I only hope and I wish for from this day forward. Here I am once again at Shinshin's burial plot. The storm hasn't let up yet, not one bit, and I'm not sure if I'm crying at this moment then, but I'm sure as hell crying now as I write this piece to tell you about the life and struggles of my beloved Shinshin Nagami. I'm drenched and soaked in this unusual, unexpected rain in Southern California. Taste of bitter salt water falls in showers all over me, soaking me from head to toe, and my tears just flow as though they were the rain themselves. My slightest burning, irrit- irritated eyes still focus on him, eyeing him through his burial plot and coffin underneath as though I can see him. Clear as day I picture him through the carved out piece of wood, and the acidic sodium taste upon my lips accompany my last moment with my beloved Shinshin. His crooked smirk still accompany his laid to rest hardened corpse. The last one at his side I was. Everyone else who had attended his funeral had gone and left, perhaps to get away from this unexpected monsoonal downpour. It's going to be much different without Shinshin and his tenacity around. Maybe for the better. That's what I like to think at times. So I wish at the time as I think about him. Maybe I'll try to be better, a better person of sort. From now on, I want to live as an honest man, to get all I deserve, and to give all I can. Then again, look who's talking and telling of these past events. I remember now. I stuck around till his burial plot was filled to the surface, and afterward, I finally whimpered with some sort of the sadness and realization. I whispered to myself my last words. Goodbye. Goodbye, Shinshin. Goodbye, my dear, beloved brother. I'll rejoice in your absence. Rejoice. Just like all of those who had left Shinshin all alone during his living state and after his death, I too staggered myself off and away from him, leaving him for the last time, just like his asshole father, Corporal Jackson Bradford, his sweet, innocent teenage mother, Kushina Shinagami, his beloved foster parents, Mr. and Mrs. Captain Taylor, his protector, Detective Hampton, and now me, the torn bastard that really did him in. Me, Dara, Odoe Sok, the torn bastard that really did him in. Covered, drenched, and dirtied in this bullshit of a storm, I paced myself away and toward my cherry flame exterior. Still thinking about Shinshin and how I found him during his last moment in my arms during that fateful lunch break. Here ends the written work of God's paper, and silently I made and swore a promise. Goodbye. Goodbye, Shinshin. I'll see you. I'll see you on the other side. In God's name I pray. Ever since, I'm living my miserable existence of life in remembrance of my beloved Shinshin. Shinshin Nagami. My daily breath of fresh air is an homage to his every giving ever giving nature. It's because of me that he had died tragically. I'm trying to live a better life for the sake of Shinshin's soul and perhaps for mine as well. Since his passing, I too have been stricken with much illness. Maybe it's from the guilt of his death, and maybe Shinshin's God is punishing me for my sins against his true believer. I guess I am reaping what I've sown. Not just my physical health has taken for the worse, my mental state as well has gone to the dark side. I'm being treated for various mental defects, OCD, anger, depression, to paranoia. Those are some of the diagnoses that the Veterans Hospital has determined for my state of well-being. With all the prescribed drugs I'm on, I'm surprised I haven't conformed to being a mushroom or a basket case. I just simply live on for the sake of Shinshin Nagami. So what now, Dara? So what now, Dara, Rado, Dora, Adosuk? What now? Well, I promise to be a better person, give what I can, and be a better man. I want to be able to forgive and forget. I want to be an optimist with positive possibilities and live the rest of my life as Shinshin had lived his while he was still living, and then and why he was my beloved. And I should, and I should come to an acceptance. I simply need to grow the fuck up and move on. I will learn to accept what has happened these past many years. I will accept the death of Shinshin Nagami, and I will accept that it was my fault that he died the way he did. And I will accept responsibility for his demise. And I will accept that there are good and bad people in our lives, and just to keep on smiling. Smile for Shinshin's sake, smile in his memory, and smile for my own sake, and smile for the betterment of myself. I will be a better man and do all I can. Thank you for listening. This is the end of chapter 152. Be on the lookout for future writing by Dara Ado Sok.